Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Full Brew. I'm Patrick Fulcher.
And I'm Mike Brewer.
And we are coming to you live from the Radco headquarters here in Atlanta, Georgia today. And Mike, we have a show full of a lot of exciting news to share with our team members.
Oh, absolutely. Well, as always.
As always. And just a couple of reminders as we get started this morning. Please make sure that you are posting any questions or comments on Yammer.
Yam it up.
We're going to be monitoring the Yammer feed all throughout the program today. And also, Mike, I want to share with you, I decided we're going to do a special contest.
Was that an executive decision?
It was an executive decision. I'm deciding right now that if you're watching the program with your team at your property location, to take a photograph of you and the team watching the program. And
hashtag.
Post
Do I
it.
feel a
Yes, hashtag, and post it on Yammer. And then what we'll do is we're going to do a drawing for a prize.
Oh, I'm so excited. Can we do that?
Yes, we can.
We can take our own hashtag.
We can do that.
All right.
We can do that. So go ahead, take the photograph of everybody watching the program today, post that on Yammer, and it does have to be posted today, Friday, to be entered into the contest.
I love that.
Awesome. All right, so let's get our program started, Mike. I cannot be more excited about 2018 is our year of the customer.
That's right.
We've talked about this a lot, but I think in today's program, we're really going to go into a lot of the details about what that means and how, as a Radco team member, we can make it the year of the customer and what we can do at an individual property level, an individual level, to really make our residents raving fans of Radco.
I love that phrase, raving fans.
So Mike, talk to us a little bit. Let's kick it off. I think that we have some really great stuff to talk about. Tell us about Kingsley, our Kingsley survey.
Absolutely. So Kingsley, as you all well know, is our way of measuring our consumers' sort of satisfaction in our communities based around those 4 touch points, be it after a move-in or after a service request or leading up to a renewal time. And there's one other one that doesn't come to mind readily. But say that again?
At application.
At application time. Thank you, Sharon, off stage.
Sharon.
That's awesome.
Executive producer.
I love it. So what we are aiming for and shooting for in the Kingsley Index, that measurement of customer satisfaction, is a 70%. Now that would be a C in a school, right? 70%. The Kingsley Index, the mark for the rest of the industry, more broadly speaking, is 74%. So this first year we thought maybe we would just wade into the water, right? Not try to shoot for the stars, but rather kind of ease ourselves into a higher expectation and raising that bar. So our goal is to get to 70%. Today we're at 63% on the Kingsley Index score. So we have a lot of room, a little bit of room to improve. And what we're going to talk about today, I think, Patrick, is some of the ways that we can actually do that.
But 63% and 70%, Mike, that seems very doable.
It's a small margin.
It seems very doable, and I think we're going to talk about some things today, hopefully, some ideas and some best practices that are going to help those properties that there is a gap to start to close that gap in a very real way.
That's
today.
exactly right.
So Mike, what are some of those practical ways that we can start to improve our scores that we can share with everybody that's watching today?
Yeah, so one of the things I would say before I answer that question is that I think we all need to understand this is not to indict the teams in terms of terrible customer service, right? We're not out to out people and make examples of them. We really are trying to raise the bar in terms of customer satisfaction in this organization. So don't look at this tool in an adverse way, which I think many of us do, or sometimes we do. So I think some of the ways that you can actually increase, because this is about participation as it is about completion of the survey. So some of the ways that you can actually increase the participation is just simply ask the question, right? Once
Absolutely.
somebody tours through the community, a prospect, you can say, hey, by the way, we are really trying to raise the bar here at Radco. And right after this tour, you're going to receive a survey in your email inbox, and we'd like for you to fill it out. The same way with a new move-in. Right on the heels of that new move-in, we can ask for participation in that survey. Service guys, when you go in and do a service request, think of creative ways that you can leave behind an information pamphlet or just some kind of cute little way to get people to participate after a service request is complete. And then leading up to renewal time too. Now that we have this partnership with Benson, we can go out and ask Benson to create some creative flyers or
Right.
different ways that we can inform our client base to go out and complete the surveys. Again, under the premise of raising the bar in terms of customer satisfaction.
What are the fun ways, Mike, that I heard recently that our maintenance teams can sort of, you said, leave behind some fun way to let people know, to remind them to do the survey, is they took the microwave bags of popcorn and they put a note stapled to the bag that said, hey, we popped in and we would like you to fill out our survey. That's a very inexpensive, low cost, fun way to remind our residents that, hey, we do value your feedback. One of the things that, and I'll never forget this, Jessica Gordon, who is our Director of Learning and Development, she says, feedback is a gift.
It is a gift.
And that has probably become more real in my life this year, because if you take that feedback and you use that to become better,
That's right.
use that to really grow and become a better company, the value is priceless.
It is.
And so I thought that was a really cool way. Just a simple bag of popcorn. Hey, we popped in today, and hey, would you fill out this survey to tell us how we're doing?
That's exactly right. And I think, maybe to tag on to the Jessica Gordon, I think feedback, both positive and negative. So
Yes.
it's not just that negative feedback that we can, take and look at something that we can improve in terms of process or procedure, et cetera, but also that good feedback. What can we double down on to increase participation or increase our customer satisfaction results?
Absolutely. And there's so many opportunities, Mike, as I think about our properties every day and all the residents that we serve in all of our communities, we have so many opportunities to create moments of truth, to create those moments where people can give us great feedback. And nothing feels better than when you receive that positive feedback from a resident. It makes you feel just off the charts amazing.
That's right. The gift is yours.
The
right?
gift, I receive that gift of positive feedback, and that motivates me to do more.
That's
that
exactly
motivates me to be better and to continue to do more and really wow our residents.
That's right. So I think now we're going to segue on that premise to recognizing some of the top performers
Awesome.
as it relates to the customer satisfaction scores. So
Awesome.
start with fifth place, and that is Willows at North End.
Willows at North End. Spartanburg, South Carolina. So hopefully the Willows at North End team is watching today, and we give a shout out to you guys for the amazing job that you did.
And I know it's not part of the script, but an amazing fact, last week, 100% customer satisfaction.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Flawless execution.
That's right.
Flawless execution.
Fourth place, Ashford Ridenhour up in Kennesaw.
Right here in Kennesaw.
Love it.
Excellent job.
All right, and third place goes to Spalding Bridge.
Spalding Bridge.
Nice work.
Right here in Dunwoody, Georgia.
I love it. All right, and then second place goes to Ashford at Feather Sound.
Ashford Feather Sound in the Sunshine State of Florida.
Yes, I need some sunshine.
I do
It's
too.
been really cloudy here
I
lately.
want it a little pasty.
And number one, or first place rather, is Ashford Walnut Creek.
Oklahoma, Mike. Oklahoma is leading the way.
And we were just there on the grand tour, and the property looked amazing.
That is so awesome. So congratulations to all of our properties. You guys are leading the way, and we are so appreciative of you modeling those behaviors. And one of the things I wanted to say, Mike, that I think would be really great, if we do have some properties that are having a hard time really figuring out some really creative and fun things to do, I am pretty sure, and I haven't spoken to these managers, but I'm fairly certain that if you pick up the phone and you call any of the managers or team members at any of those properties, they will be happy,
More than
and
happy.
excited to share with you some of the things that they're doing to achieve those goals.
You know, I would agree with that. Based on the Align conference and seeing the community that came together there, I absolutely believe that.
Absolutely. So if you are at one of those properties that you feel like I'm really not sure what to do to really bridge the delta between where I am today and where I'm trying to get to, please reach out to those properties that are being successful. It's all part of being the Radco family.
That's right.
Sharing those ideas, best practices, and I'm sure you you may hear things that you never thought of and go, wow, that's a great idea, and a really great idea to make a quick impact in increasing those scores across the company.
That's right. And so, sometimes you bring one good idea together with another good idea, and you get an even better idea. So
Absolutely.
the idea of brainstorming. So make those calls.
Make those calls. Well, Mike, we have some really great customer hero story, and we've kind of talked a little bit about this concept on a couple of the shows. I know when we were at the Line Conference last month, we talked about this concept of being a customer service hero. And really what it is, Mike, it's about people who are going above and beyond what is their normal job function.
That's right.
And it's resulting in these amazing stories that we're going to share some of those with you today. And I encourage you, these stories came in from our regional managers, from our directors of operations. If you have some of these stories you'd like to share with us, please send those in to us. Sharon, where do we need to send those stories into?
News@radcoliving.com.
News@radcoliving.com. Very easy email address to remember. So we want to hear all of those stories because this is really what the show is about, Mike. It's about highlighting our Radco team members who are going above and beyond and creating these amazing stories that result in building better living for our residents.
It really is. These stories are the stories that build our culture, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's hard to put your head around what culture is. Culture is the stories that we produce out of our values and our mission and our purpose of building better living. So
well, we have
tell many stories.
Many stories. The more the better. I would love it to do an entire show, Mike, of just reading these stories.
That's right.
And talking about our fantastic team members who work so hard every day. So we have a few of those stories to share today. So I'm going to start with this first story is it's Katie Patterson. She is the leasing consultant at Crossings at McDonough. She says, we have an elderly woman that lives here on site who has had multiple strokes and gets confused very easily and has no family to help her. She came into the office one Saturday when it was bad weather was approaching, and Katie noticed that she was not herself that day and asked her if she wanted her to call the fire department to check her out. Ms. Fowler, who is the resident, said no, but Katie knew that something just wasn't right with that situation. So she kept talking to her, and finally Ms. Fowler told her that she was worried about not having groceries with the upcoming storms. And so Katie actually wrote down her grocery list and what Miss Fowler needed, and actually went to the store and brought the groceries to her, which is incredible, Mike. I mean, was it anywhere on the leasing consultant job description that you have to go to the grocery store for a resident?
Not even in the fine print.
Not even in that line that says, and all other duties as assigned, right? That wasn't in there. But what Katie did totally was an example of our Radco core value of caring and going above and beyond it. Let me tell you something, Mike. I would hazard to guess that Miss Fowler is probably going to be a resident at that Crossings at McDonough's property for a very long time.
A raving fan, as you put it at the league, you know?
Absolutely. So, Katie, we so appreciate that story. I mean, kudos to you and the team at Crossings at McDonough. That is an example of being a customer service hero, and we are so I was thrilled when I heard that story, and to be able to share it with all of our Radco family today. We can't get enough of that.
Yeah, so if you've ever wondered how to play out the value of care, that is a representation.
That's the way to do it. So thank you, Katie, and continue the amazing work you're doing, and we want to hear more of that. So another story, Mike, that came up this week, Sharon Bates. This is from Parkside at Laurel West, so over in the Carolinas. Sharon uses his jumper cables to help residents with a dead battery. I mean, nothing's more frustrating, Mike, than going out to your car in the morning and you turn it over and nothing happens.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Usually, it always happens when you're running late and you're just like, what do I do, right? So Sharon uses his jumper cables to help the residents. One of our residents had a stroke and was in the hospital for an extended period of time and has a hard time walking now. Sharon picks up his trash twice a week, brings it to the dumpster, and he also hand delivers his packages to the resident.
Oh, wow. Sharon.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Sharon, I could not, again, just just a great example of the Radco core value of caring, knowing that our residents having a hard time, and thinking of ways to build better living and creating experiences that are going to create raving fans and residents for life.
Absolutely. And my imagination tells me that that's very fulfilling for Sharon also, right?
Absolutely.
He's getting a gift in those experiences.
Absolutely.
As well.
So Mike, those are two great examples of team members that went above and beyond in demonstrating our core values and really being customer service heroes. And you have a really unique story to share with us.
Yeah, I'm excited.
About a situation that occurred at one of our properties here in Atlanta.
That's exactly right. I'm not excited about the situation, but I'm excited to tell the story. Radius Cheshire Bridge recently had an incident when a vendor accidentally broke a fire sprinkler line in an attic, flooding 7 units, likely on a Monday morning, I'm sure.
7 units is never good.
No, ever.
That are flooded. Yeah.
Okay, and so immediately Adam Finley and the assistant manager and Chanel Dobson, the property manager, started knocking on doors to assess the damage. One unit was flooded up to their ankles and soggy with insulation covering the floor. The dining room ceiling had already collapsed, and water was still dripping from the ceiling when they got there. They noticed a scared little dog barking in the unit.
Wow.
I can't even imagine that, and trying to escape the water.
Wow.
They looked around for a carrying bag, a leash, a kennel, and anything they could get their hands on, and it took some tenacity, but they didn't give up. They caught the little guy and brought him back to the office. And then when they called the resident to tell him about the damage, the first thing they asked was about their dog. They were relieved to hear he was safe. And when they arrived to pick the dog up, you could tell that the items in the apartment meant nothing compared to their dog,
Yeah.
right?
Your furry friend.
That furry friend. And that morning at Radius Cheshire Bridge, the team made a new little friend and turned a horrible experience into one that the residents knew they cared.
Right, so congratulations to Chanel Dobson and Adam Finley
Yes.
at Radius Cheshire Bridge. Now, Mike, look, we have our own little furry friend here with us.
We have a resident for life.
We have a resident for life, and now we have a furry friend for life. Radius Cheshire Bridge, you guys did a fantastic job. And Mike, really that story represents a couple of different core values.
That's
One
right.
is, I think, of caring, obviously, but also fearless. As you kind of told that story, I thought about almost like a movie set happening, and the ceiling was open and water gushing in, the dog was barking, and here Chanel and Adam fearlessly go into this situation, really not knowing what they're going to encounter.
Oh no, and that dog, I imagine, had a ton of fear in it. You have no idea how it's going to
Absolutely.
respond to something that's good you're trying
Right.
to rescue, but yeah,
So there was
fearless.
a lot of examples of our core values being lived out in that example. So congratulations to you guys, and we want to keep those stories coming. So Mike, as we think about these 3 examples that we just talked about, the two that I read and the one that you just described to us, what are some of those things that each of those situations have in common?
You know, I think obviously the caring value, the fearless value, but I also think that there is particular attention being paid to the details in these scenarios. So, you know, like understanding that gentleman that cannot now take
Yes.
care of himself in terms of the
Yes.
trash, or
Absolutely.
you know, it's thinking about things beyond the surface or below the surface, right? And taking those details and using them as catalysts for action, and actually, you know, taking that and playing out something that is good for the resident, but also, I imagine, good for
Absolutely.
our team member, right?
Giving is not only good for the person you're giving to, but it's
That's right.
also gives to the receiver.
That's
And I
right.
think that's so important. And I know that those residents, when their lease comes up for renewal every year, they're going to remember those times.
Right,
They're
and
going to
there's
remember
no
those stories.
question, I want to stay here. right?
Absolutely. And I think that's what Norman had in mind when we sort of crafted the term building better living. Yes, we buy these communities, we create these amazing spaces for people to live and that are proud to call home. But I think in his mind, Mike, when he crafted the term building better living, that's what he had in mind.
That's exactly right.
It's not necessarily the physical structure, although that's important.
Yeah.
It's really about how we treat people.
That's exactly
and how
right.
we help them with their lives. And these are real life situations that occur every day. And people people are moved by these stories, and it's so good to hear this. So I encourage you, if you've had a similar story or you want to share that with us, please send that to news@radicaliving.com, and we will be sure to highlight that on the upcoming episode.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So beyond these great examples of caring, Mike, the customer hero concept simply means it's not who's right, it's what's right.
That's
right?
right.
So a lot of times I think what happens, Mike, and I want to be very careful when I say this because we do have policies in place, and obviously we have to have those policies in place to run a business. But I think sometimes we allow our policies to get in the way of doing the right thing. And so in that moment when something is happening, that moment of truth that's happening right before you, and you have the opportunity to make a situation right, Mike, what happens? What should go through our heads when we're dealing with a situation? There's going to be times when we have residents that are going to be upset. They're not going to be happy with us. We've done something wrong.
Yeah.
What should be going through our mind at that moment, Mike?
I think the outcome is what you need to stay focused on. And many times in those scenarios, your emotion hijacks logic, right?
Yes.
Sometimes by way of example, you're arguing over $25, not understanding that the lease value is $12,000, right?
Exactly.
And so that $25 argument is not really worth it. But sometimes and I'll say it, our ego enters into the equation. I'm as guilty as the next guy of allowing my ego to get introduced into a conversation, and it gets emotionally loaded, and all of a sudden I want to be right instead of looking for the right answer. So I think in those scenarios you have to take a step back, take a deep breath, understand the bigger picture, the bigger scheme of things, and then make a decision that is ultimately the right decision and not you being right.
Right. And our policies, Mike, are there as a guide, guideline. But if we're sitting in a situation and we have the opportunity to create what could be a very bad situation and turn that into a very positive situation, we need to do that.
That's right.
We need to if it's something we need to partner with our manager on or ask a question, but we have the opportunity to become a customer service hero in that moment, that very moment. And guess what? You get to take all the credit for that.
That's right.
And that's what we want you to do. That's what the year of the customer is all about. It's about those opportunities that we have to create raving fans, to create lifetime residents for our properties. And I mean, we can't do enough of that, Mike.
No, and I think if I would add to that is that you're creating a story in that moment of truth. And whether it ends with a negative outcome or a positive outcome, people will walk out into the world and they will share that story in their social channels, right? And so, online is your new curb appeal. It starts there. That really is true. And so why not have a good positive outcome to be shared out into the world, even if it's less likely to be shared as opposed to that negative story that we all like to hear. But let's sort of shift that around to a positive thing that we can get out.
I'd like to really issue a challenge to our team members that are watching us today, Mike, to really think about as you go through the day today, and you have residents that are coming and going in and out of your office, you're getting phone calls from residents. What is one way that you can go above and beyond what is expected? The expected is you're going to lease apartments, you're going to take phone calls, we're going to fix things. But what is that one way that you can go above and beyond? And we would love to hear about those stories. And guess what? You're going to create better living for everybody on that property. And those things, like you said, Mike, they're priceless. We can't pay for that kind of advertising. All the marketing in the world that we could do doesn't equal to those type of stories.
That's exactly right. I like to frame it like excellence, right?
Yes.
Excellence is the next 5 minutes, right? You can achieve excellence in the way of customer service in the next 5 minutes, whether it's an email subject line or it's an interaction that we have in the hallway after an emotionally loaded meeting.
Absolutely.
We can create excellence, and that really is the predicate for good customer service.
Absolutely. That's exciting, Mike, and that's what's going to make us a better company, a better brand. And everybody's going to go, if I live at a Radco property, this is going to become the expectation
That's right.
of how I'm treated. And that's really what's going to differentiate us from everybody else that does what we do in the property management business. So Mike, we could talk about customer service for the next day, but we don't have all that time. We have a lot of things to get done today, and we have some more things in the show that we want to get to. So one of the things that comes up is talk to us about what's going on with due diligence and new properties and areas that we're looking at.
So this is really exciting because we are growing again, right? And we're growing in markets that weren't necessarily part of the 6 markets that we said we were going to grow in, but because we are an opportunistic company, right? We're looking at opportunity in Indianapolis, which I'm very, very excited about. We also have some opportunity going down in Charleston, South Carolina.
Which I was
really
there.
Cool
Actually,
properties.
was there 2 weeks ago. 2 really cool boutique style properties in Charleston.
To me, that is very, very exciting because it's not necessarily the same stuff that we're used to managing. To use your word boutique-y, it's a little bit of a different flavor for us, but I think one that will be very exciting.
Absolutely.
And then we're looking at some other opportunities here in Atlanta. I can't quite let the cat out of the bag with that one, but if we're able to take that one across the finish line, that will be very, very exciting.
Good thing that cat wasn't out of the bag, Mike, because the dog would have got it.
The dog would have came to get him. So,
Exactly.
But the main thing I'd like to communicate there is that it excites. We've had a little bit of a lull in our acquisitions activity, but now it seems to be taking off like wildfire, and that will produce opportunity or create opportunity for some of our team members.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, one of the things that we love to do is we always like to have different voices and hear from different parts of Radco. So tell us about our special guests today.
Yeah, we're very excited to have Jessica Hansel from the Capital Markets join us today to talk a little bit about what she does here in the organization.
Awesome. So let's hear from Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica Hansel. I'm the Vice President of Equity Capital Markets here at Radco. I've been with the firm about 3 years now, and my background was on Wall Street. I worked for 2 public companies in institutional equities. My primary role at Radco is raising the equity capital. So what does that really mean? When we have a new project, we have debt capital, which is like your mortgage, and we have equity capital. In Radco's case, that means the equity comes from investors. Who are our investors, though? Our investors are really regular people like you and me. They're not institutions like a Morgan Stanley or a Goldman Sachs. They're regular people. So it's their retirement funds, it's their kids' college funds that they've really put on the line with us. That gives us a huge responsibility to be good stewards of their capital and to work a little bit harder to get them great returns. One of the ways that we're really able to touch our investors is through our monthly investor reports. We're showcasing things like the occupancy of your properties, what capital projects we have going on, where your rents are moving to, and what changes are happening in the communities that you work in and our residents live in. Our investor reports are a great way to tell your story, to tell about what's going on in your community and how you're impacting residents every day. So what's really special about investing in real estate is that our investors can see directly the impact that their investment and their dollars have in our communities. Whether it's a new leasing center where our residents are able to get together, or it's their apartment that they're really proud to have their friends and family to, and they're proud that they can call it their home. I think that's really special that our investors can feel and see that, whether they're visiting your property on an investor tour or reading about it in our monthly reports. It's really all of our departments here at Radco coming together to build better living.
Our thanks to Jessica Hansel for all the work that you do here at Radco, and really playing into the idea of one Radco as an enterprise. Even though we have these individual business units, we are operating under that flag of one Radco. And I really want to thank Jessica in that piece on how our investors really are friends and family as opposed to institutional investors where the money really doesn't have a face, right? These are real individuals who are putting real money in terms of retirement and things of that nature on the line investing in Radco. And the fact that we come together as an enterprise to make sure that that investment is not only protected but doubled up sometimes. In other words, they put some money into a deal and they're able to realize a return that is way in advance of what Wall Street would give you or other investment avenues would give you. So it takes a team, it takes a community to do that. So thank you, Jessica, for the work or the piece that you play in that equation.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, thank you so much for kind of explaining that, because without the investors to give us the dollars to be able to do all the great things that we do, we wouldn't be able to accomplish
No.
it. It's a team effort. It goes beyond the boundaries of just our Radco team members, but our investors are like family, and that's really exciting. So, Mike, another big initiative that we kicked off for this month was EntryGate.
Oh, yes.
So you may have heard of this.
I did.
Hopefully you have. EntryGate is our onboarding program for new team members. So we had our first group of new team members go through that onboarding program, and guess what, Mike? We learned a lot.
I bet.
We learned a lot about how we can make the program better and more interesting. And so we thank all of you guys that are watching that were part of that EntryGate program. Thank you for your feedback, and we intend to make this make the appropriate changes to make it a more robust program, and to continue to improve as we go along. So, and don't forget, Mike, we are beta testing this in Georgia right now, but
That's
our
right.
intention is we're going to roll this same experience out to all of our Radco markets. So those of you that are watching, I don't want you to think that we're not going to do this in Texas and Oklahoma and all the other states. We're going to do that, but we want to make sure we work out all of the programming issues that we might encounter so that it's flawlessly executed
I like that term.
when we roll it out to all of our other markets.
You know what I think is so exciting about this particular program is that it was born out of feedback, right?
Yes.
The employee satisfaction survey, or I know the
Yes.
employee voice.
Yes, the Radco
We have,
voice.
we have a name for
We've
everything.
all- we do.
I need a dictionary. to
Right,
help me
well,
keep track of
marketing
all
it is
that.
everything.
I like that.
Marketing is everything, right?
But I think, in all seriousness, I think the fact that we took that survey,
Yes.
we read it, we listened, and we decided to implement something like EntryGate to address that concern, because I think our marks there were, let's say, borderline atrocious. They were really bad.
It was the number one thing that came back on our Radco Voice survey, Mike, of people said we need to improve on.
That's
and
right.
That is our onboarding experience for our team members. People did not feel they were getting the information they needed to be successful at Radco. So we
That's
took
right.
that to heart, and we dedicated an entire team of people to focus on this one program.
Exactly.
And I think the result of that is very positive. And now, as we roll this program out, we just want to make it better and better.
And I think along those lines, you know, the fact that it sounds like we're being flexible, hashtag
Yes.
flexible, in terms of taking the feedback from the actual participants
Absolutely.
to make that program even better. It's all exciting stuff.
Very exciting stuff, Mike. And another thing that I'm very excited about is our Amplify Ambassador and Safety Ambassador program. It continues to expand the programming each month. And the exciting part about that, Mike, is that these are our Radco team members that are actually leading these sessions. And I
Yeah.
love to see the pictures on Yammer of all of our team members learning. We're developing a learning culture. It's
That's right.
becoming part of the fabric of our organization, Mike, where we get together and we learn and we grow, and that is so exciting. So a shout out to all those people that participate in our Amplify Ambassador and our Safety Ambassador program. And also, if you would like to be a person that leads either the Amplify Ambassador or become an Amplify Ambassador or a Safety Ambassador, please let us know that. Christy Rodriguez is the person in our Learning and Development Department that oversees that program, and we are always looking for new ambassadors. So if you feel that's something that you would like to pursue or learn more about, please feel free to reach out to Christy. If you don't know how to get to Christy, just email news@radcoliving, and we will get you to her. And she's always looking for more people to join that exciting team.
And might I say something as a word of encouragement? I think you have to look at this particular thing. You know, I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt that said, "Do something every day that scares you." Actually, it scares the heck out of you. And I think if you think about this program and actually participating as a presenter, right? And it is something that just makes your hand shake or your brow sweat or you just get anxious, your heart starts beating fast. This is the program for you, right?
Absolutely.
It is that type of environment that sort of builds it sort of takes something that's innate in you and it builds it and it builds character and it allows you to be better in other forums, right? So look at this as, not just a scary thing to do, but as an education and something that can build you as a leader for the future.
Absolutely. And Mike, I can't say thank you enough to Christy and
Yes.
all the work that goes into putting together this program and coordination of all the materials. And thank you, Christy, for all that you do.
Yes.
And thank you to all of our safety ambassadors and our Amplify ambassadors. So, Mike, I can hardly believe we're almost at the end of another episode of Full Brew, but I feel like there's some last-minute fun. Tell us about what's coming up next.
Okay, before I do that, I have one more thought, and one, okay, as it relates to the Amplify ambassadors and the safety ambassadors. I think you have to fear less to be fearless, right? So when you feel that anxiety about standing in front of your peers and presenting, just exercise a little bit of fear less in order to see that value come alive for yourself of fearless.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Fear less to be fearless.
That's exactly
I like
right.
that.
Yeah.
I
So,
like that.
all right, the very exciting piece and thrilling piece that we have left here is we recently had an opportunity to hear from our Radco employees as it related to creating EntryGate, right? We got to hear about their thoughts as it relates to their experience here at Radco.
So this video that we're going to watch is actually our actual Radco team members telling the Radco about what makes Radco different in their own voice. So let's take a look at this video.
My name is Talia Upshaw Pope.
My name is Ashley Jones.
Chris Larson.
Heidi Algar.
Micah Neighbors.
Sherry Brooks.
I'm Adam West.
Brandon Need.
Samantha Koenig.
James Outing. I'm the property manager.
At the Warwick Apartments in Oklahoma City.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
In Houston.
The Atlanta, Georgia area. The Radco difference is we strive to change the lives of our employees, our residents, and our investors. And how we do that is by making a positive difference in the industry.
The Radco differences and what makes me really, really excited is that they definitely stand behind their mission statement of them challenging and going outside of the box, creating a home for people. And that's what drew me to this company.
Radco is a people-oriented company. From the residents at the properties to the managers in the corporate offices, it is entirely about trying to improve people's lives.
The Radco difference creates an ability to serve my residents in a way that they deserve. I'm supported by the support teams in my regional and the corporate office to just really make better living for the people that we serve and that live in and trust us with their homes.
Doing things differently with Radco, in my experience, is that we're putting a lot more into our employees and making sure that they have the education, the resources, and the tools to be able to be better.
I felt very pushed down by previous companies, but Radco really empowers us to be exactly who we are, and they want to focus us using the personality traits that we already have.
We're always improving. We're always making changes, and to be honest, we're human, we make mistakes, so Radco acknowledges that, and instead of shaming you for making your mistakes, they help you correct them.
It's amazing when you're working in this type of culture with people that take risks. They value our opinion, and they let us take risks also.
Every person in this company is valued as an individual, valued as a contributor, and valued as an asset.
I've been in the industry now for well over 25 years. Radco versus the other companies, the availability of the upper personnel, if you needed to talk to someone, they're there, they're available.
The better we train our employees, the better we interact with each other as well as the residents on our properties.
If you put into your people, they will give back to you. If you show them that you care, they'll care.
You have a voice, they want to hear your voice. They don't want you to just sit in the background and say nothing and see things go in a way that maybe could be better.
What I love the most is the family atmosphere because it goes beyond just work. You know, it's our lives.
being valued by your employer makes you excited and happy to get up every day, go to work, and try to improve the lives of the people around you. Just getting to make a difference every day to somebody.
Radco is striving to be the best in the multifamily industry across the world, across the country. We do that by changing our business plan. It's not just one way, it's the Radco way. And the Radco way is trying new ideas, and we learn from our mistakes, and we take the good and we push forward with that.
Radco.
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 Radco, building
Better living.
Better living.
Better living.
Better living.
Better living.
Radco is building better living.
What an incredible video. That is just
It's
absolutely amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, so one of the things that I think we really pride ourselves on here at Radco is promoting from within. So I would just like to take 1 minute, if I could, to say congratulations to Ashley Jones for being promoted to the director of the Central Division here at Radco.
Absolutely. So exciting, Mike, and we are, that's what we're all about
That's
here.
right.
We're about building better living for our residents, but we're also about building better living for our team members and providing them with opportunity for growth and advancement. And with all the growth that we've experienced at Radco over the last, I sometimes think back, Mike, in 2012 we owned zero apartment units.
That's amazing.
And now we own just shy of 20,000 apartment units. That's insane.
It is.
And it could only be possible by all the hard work of all of our team members that are watching every single day. The stories that we read today, Mike, the experiences that you just heard on the video, that's what makes Radco a great company. And we're going to just continue to get better.
Yeah.
And this program is a forum for us to be able to share those stories with you. So, Mike, it's another end of a great episode.
Yeah, I couldn't be any more thrilled by it.
Absolutely. Thank you to Jessica Hansel again for joining us today.
Yes, thank you very
from Capital
much.
Markets. Thank you to all of our team members who participated in the Radco Difference video. And don't forget our contest that we're running today. Take a picture of your team right now. Just do it right now while you're watching, and make sure that gets posted on Yammer. And then we're going to do a drawing at the end of the day for all of the properties that posted, and you may win a special full brew prize pack.
Oh yes, I can't wait to give that away.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for joining us today, and we'll see you again really soon.
Take care.